In this week's Think Bike Academy,
replacing the coil spring on my Fox shock. When I consult the Fox spring calculator, it suggests a £500 spring for me, which is what I currently have on my bike. And generally I enjoy it and have very few complaints. But you know what? There's gut instinct, or curiosity. A slightly heavier spring will liven the rear end up a bit. It'll give it a wee bit more pop and also more bottom out resistance. The trade-off? It comes at the expense of less sag and small bump compliance. Trust your instinct? Still filthy from riding at Bigwood. Time to get the shock out. Just a couple of hex keys does the job. Five mil and 6mm hex keys is all you need. 5mm for the two top ones, a 6mm for down here, and a 5mm on the opposite side. Apologies for the sound of the heating boiler in this video. So that is the hardware that holds the shock into the bike. A wee bit of a tight fit here. That's the shock out. Here's the preload colour. Need to wind that back off. Once you've fully backed off the preload colour, the spring can move like that. Push it down. Gives you the opportunity to then push that ring down, and that exposes circlip. Newer versions of this shock, or else it's maybe the factory version, this here is slotted. There's a slot in it, and you spin it round and you can lift it straight off. This one is restricted by not only the circlip but also these wee bushings. Then this inner sleeve needs to be pushed right through. Luckily there's a vise in this garage. If you had a press, you could do it with a press or some sort of a handheld press. So I have a socket that I'm going to put on that little bushing and drive it through to the other side. And on this side of a bigger socket to let it push into it. That's the setup. Not ideal because we're not 100% aligned. It's awkward to film, so I'll just show you where we are at the minute. That inner black sleeve, we're pushing it right through. That will allow me to remove these wee bios here. Don't know what they're called, bushings maybe. That lets this collar come off, and then the spring will come off after that. Put the new spring on, put everything back together, hunky dory. Circlip, spring clip, whatever you want to call it. That's the new spring on. Just need to screw the preload back down and check up the slack. New spring back in, preload collar wound down till it's touching the spring, no more slack. All good, just ready to build back up. There we go, all pressed back into place. New spring on, preload done, just need to fit it to the bike again. But before we do that, make sure in here's all properly cleaned. Check the bearings are good. Still running straight. Yep, all good. Just nipping them up. I'll torque them later. 12 Newton meters. That's it fitted, just need to torque the bolts up. 10 Newton meters, or sorry 12 Newton meters. So we'll start at 6. Hold the far side while I torque this one. And do the same thing on the other side. Done that one yet. I'm not actually sure what it is. I'll have to go and look it up. But that's the job done. So that's a relatively simple job. Anybody can do that really. Couple of basic tools. The vise definitely helped. Ideally you would have a press, but you know it's doable. Use what you have and you can change the spring on your own shock.